I'm here at North Cascades National Park here in Washington. This is a free, you heard me, free national park, incredible value. I happen to think that this is an undiscovered gem and one of the nicest national parks in the entire country. Let's go check it out. I'm here at North Cascades National Park, Colonial Creek South Campground. Pull up here and I got my buddy just hanging out. Doesn't seem to be too worried about my presence. Hey there, bud. Can I see your national park pass? Do you have the America the Beautiful? There's something magical, mystical, and ethereal about North Cascades National Park. I'm here at Diablo Lake. Look at this. I'm sitting on the outskirts of the boat ramp launch. You can see a couple little docks here. It says Colonial Creek South Campground, North Cascades National Park. April 30, 2025, you can see they have a log there discouraging people from using it in the off season. Taking advantage of this window and coming to review all of the campsites before it opens here in the next couple weeks. But got here and instantly I'm being treated with this light show of the sun trying to break through this absolutely incredible mystical ethereal fog that's rolling through this national park. Literally, it's absolutely beautiful. I thought, well, hello, that's a nice way to say good morning. I'm the only person here at Colonial Creek South. It's my intention to do a full review of all the sites of north and south. I'm actually going to try to do 5 campgrounds today. Let's get started. I'm going to come over here and walk on the boat ramp launch, because why not? It's a little signage, a little bench. This takes you to sites 64 through 73, walk-in tent only. And nice little informational placard. Pause that if you want to read that. And come over here. First off, let me just pan up and show you this. This is magical. That is ethereal glow, my friend. This is our little dock here. You can see the water. Give you the perspective from that way. You can see a bridge and some ethereal fog. Oh, this is gorgeous. And I'll come out here. Absolutely beautiful, my friend. The calm, still, peaceful, and tranquil Diablo Lake. Getting pretty mesmerized by this sun trying to break through the ethereal, mystical, magical fog that's rolling through this area. Look at that, my friend. That is gorgeous. When you first come in here, kind of an interesting design here. They have 10 park walk-in tent-only campsites, 64 through 73. 73 is down there. So we'll take a look at 64, 65, 66, 67 first. You can see each one has a designated parking spot. So again, this is the model where you park and then you carry your gear to your picnic table, presuming that each site will also have a corresponding numerical marker. We shall see though. This is my first time here. So you come down here and let's see what we have. Clearly a site. This is 64. You can see the bear box, the food locker with the 64 on it. Here is your picnic table, a nice fire pit, good shade. So here's what I'd say, 64. Here's something to read. Use your campsite, bear resistant storage container, or your vehicle for, and then it lists basically everything that you would basically bring camping. So definitely got to be bearware around here. So as far as 64, I would say you are right on the edge. See that paved ramp right there? That is literally the boat ramp. You got a lot of road noise. You got the highway over there. You got people using the boat ramp launch. Not a fan of 64, keeping it real. I don't ever like to be right on the edge of the infrastructure because you get all the beep, 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 like annoying sound. And I feel like it's a little bit of a shame to come all the way out here and then be right up against the parking lot. So it's such a gorgeous area. I think North Cascades National Park is one of the top national parks in the country, and it's a little underrated. Here's a little path over to said boat ramp launch. See what this is. This is a little path. Oh, you can see Diablo Lake straight ahead, beautiful green. This is a little path to give you a viewing area of the lake. You pan up and get that sun. That is beautiful on the lake. I will continue along. We're walking this little intricate maze. Now, remember, this is open year-round, weather permitting, where the rest of it is not. Got a little spigot, it's convenient. Okay, so for this initial cluster, 64 through 67, these are park, walk-in, tent-only campsites. 64 is kind of by itself over there, right up against the boat ramp launch. 65, 66, 67 are all accessible this way. Again, this is that model where you park and then you bring out your gear down here. I will say that there's a lot of highway road noise to our left here. You can hear it in the background. So that's something to be aware of. This is not pin drop silent by any stretch. So here is 65, bare box, spring table, fire pit, tent. You'll notice you got 67 right there. You got 66 right here. So this is definitely a cluster. If you're more of a car camper, you want a private family experience, I would not even try to do this. I always feel like this is more for backpackers or younger people looking for a more social experience. So see, look, if right here is my tent, and if you're in your tent, like I'm in my tent right now trying to sleep, literally like 15 feet away is somebody else's picnic table. So this is not great lot lines. Again, this is 65. You see there's a spigot straight ahead, essentially located. If you go down that little path, that takes you over to 64. You go past that, it takes you to the boat ramp launch and a dock. So good shoreline access for just kind of hanging out. You want to take a chair. Let's keep going this way. So again, that was 65, not shoreline. 66 is shoreline. 66 is a little bit better than 65. Again, these are walk-in tent only. Picnic table, you got your bare box, you got your fire pit and everything. Come down here. We're gonna see if there's a tent pad, or if you just put your tent right here. This at least has its kind of own little shoreline access. Let's go check this out. It's got a couple points. I might have chosen the worst point. So there, again, this is 66, 67 straight ahead. You can see the tent pad of 67 straight ahead. So not the best privacy lines. If you're doing this park, walk, tent only, you're not looking for privacy. You're sacrificing that on the front end, but look at that. That is beautiful. There's that bridge on the highway. You're gonna get a lot of road noise, and it does carry. So you're gonna hear cars in the background if you're here, keeping it real. Here's your own shoreline though from 66. Beautiful Diablo Lake. And then there's another little area, little peninsula to hang out and enjoy the lake. Let me pan up and show you the beautiful ethereal sun trying to break through this mystical, magical fog that's roaring through North Cascades National Park. Oh, this is gorgeous, my friend. You can see why this is destination worthy. So this is the shoreline. That's the dock and the main boat ramp launch. There's your bridge for the highway, so you can already hear another car coming in the background. Cars are constantly driving on that because that's the path to Ross Lake, Ross Dam. So you are gonna have a steady stream, especially in peak season, of cars in the background. And normally I'd be slightly annoyed if there's cars in the background when I'm filming, but I actually kind of want you to hear it so you get a sense of what it's like. There's yet another access point. So really you have 3 access points to Diablo Lake from 66. 66 is definitely better than 64, 65, but the privacy lines aren't great. Here's 67, you got your bare box, you got your number, your picnic table. Well, hello there, 65. You got your literally tent pad of your neighbor like right there. That's a bit much in my humble opinion, but that's what walk tent and only is like. They crammed a lot in here. Here's your tent pad. I'll come stand here. So imagine your tent's right here. You got a cool little bridge there. It's clearly more newly built because of the color of the wood. Got a cedar smell. And here's picnic table, fire pit. There's your friend straight ahead, 66. Here's your tent pad for 65. Look how close these tent pads are. I don't know what that is, 15, 20 feet. So your tent pads are like right next to each other. So this is definitely a no privacy, quaint, communal camping experience. And you do have to carry your gear down here. I mean, it's not that far, it's not that difficult, but I'm more of a fan of the car camping model. This is more for like through backpackers, in my opinion, where, you know, that's what they want. And here's your bridge. As I said, obviously more newly built. Just give you nice little views of Diablo Lake. I keep wanting to say El Diablo, but it's just Diablo Lake. All right, so that was that cluster. Now coming this way, it's going to take us to the next set of campsites. This is a 10 campsite cluster. I will actually go walk up and show you proper. The designated parking for 64, 65, 66, 67 is straight ahead. On the other side of those orange cones, there's a little bay. Then you have your ADA accessible parking with the restroom right there. Very glad they have that. And then here, you've got 68 through 74. You can see the little brown posts with different numbers on them. So this is the parking for these sites. Again, this is a special section, 64 through 73, 10 sites, open year-round, weather permitting, where you park and you carry your gear, called walk-in tent only. Kind of more of a, I always feel like it's more of a backpacker mentality or a little bit of a hybrid camping. So there's your main parking lot. Come around this little trail. There's Diablo Lake. Hello, Diablo. And that brings us down to 68 here on the left. You got your tent pad, fire pit, picnic table, bear box. You got the restroom right there. You got 69, which is more shoreline. Bear box here, the tent pad, fire pit, and picnic table. I will say that little path there takes you to 64, 65, 66, 67. Come down here, now you're at 68, 69. Let's come around here. I think it's an access point, little peninsula. Give you a money shot of Diablo Lake. Let's come around and take this, why not? Get the full experience if you're in this walk-in tent only 64 through 73 camping zone. I don't think it's got as good a privacy, but you do get this area, which is kind of the domain of this 10 campsites. Nice little bench, and look at that. Ooh, let me pan up and show you. You've got the sun breaking through the ethereal mist. You got the sparkle on Diablo Lake. This is gorgeous. Let me show you also this way. There's the bridge. There's the highway. You're gonna get some road noise from that, but don't want to bury the lead. Look at that ethereal, misty fog coming through North Cascades National Park. This is gorgeous. Come over here and definitely getting the glisten on Diablo Lake. Water life. I will leave it right there. You can pause that if you want to read that. So again, this is kind of the hangout spot if you're in this 10 campground cluster. Glad they did this. Oh, this is magical, my friend. So we're in the walk-in tent-only campsite zone of 64 through 73. And look at this gorgeous pier fishing zone, this dock area, sitting area. You got 1, 2 picnic spots and some really high quality benches. This is like a dream location. And let me stop here and pan up. You got the sun trying to break through this mystical, magical, ethereal fog rolling through North Cascades National Park. A little bit of a glisten on Diablo Lake. And this is why people come to Colonial Creek South Campground. This is absolutely beautiful, my friend. The glisten on beautiful Diablo Lake. This is gorgeous. It's not a giant lake, but currently I'm reviewing all of the campsites here at Colonial Creek South Campground. I wanted to show you the magical wonder I stumbled upon by fortuitous luck as I got here at Colonial Creek South Campground. Let's continue along. Hey, bud. Bird here just hanging out. Oh, look at these views. You stop here, you got Diablo Lake, and oh, what's that up there? Just the sun trying to break through some ethereal, mystical, magical fog coming through this North Cascades National Park. Oh, this is beautiful, truly beautiful. So this is the general peninsula shoreline zone for sites 64 through 73, walk in tent only. And let's continue our maze of campsites. So this is site 70, probably the best of the walk-in tent only so far. Got your own little shoreline access to beautiful Diablo Lake. We pen back and give you the scale of the awesomeness, so you understand we're not just looking down. Got our picnic table, fire pit, like the fire pit situated towards the lake. Got your bear box. Doesn't look like there's a tent pad, but you obviously just put your tent straight ahead. There's a rock circle. So imagine if you put your chairs right here and you're sitting at your fire pit enjoying Diablo Lake. So I will point out that's quite beautiful. You got the fishing pier right there. I will say a lot of people will be hanging out there. So from a privacy line point of view, if you have people sitting there either fishing or just sitting in the chairs enjoying Diablo Lake and you're here, then that's kind of poor privacy lines. But this is probably the best one as far as shoreline. Got a little access point. Your fire pit is situated towards it. I'll also point out you put your tent right here. There's no tent pad, but right over there is 72, 73. That's the final cluster over there. So you do have people right next to you. The last section straight ahead is accessible from the parking up there. So here's your ADA accessible ramp. I'm glad they have this here at this national park. Takes you to the restroom, and then it also meanders down to the campsite. So here is 71. This is our ADA. You can see this is right next to the parking lot. I'll also show you there's ADA parking up there, so there's a direct path. So they located this immediately when you come into the zone, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, so standing here, finishing up this little cluster, it's a little confusing. 68, 69, 70, 71, that 4-pack is all accessible that direction. And the 72, 73, they've separated the parking. This 2-pack is the only couple sites accessible from this little side trail on the edge of this 10 walk-in tent campsite zone. So we come down here, we got 73, picnic table, fire pit, bear box. Not a tent pad, but you can just put your tent kind of in the middle of that center spot, obvious spot. And then you come down here, just to kind of explain the confusion. Straight ahead, you see those rocks in that circle, that's the edge of 70. It's not really a trail, that's just the back of site 70. So this trail doesn't go through. This trail stops at the edge of 70, the back of their tent pad, essentially with no pad, just their tent zone. And then here is 72. Got your fire pit, built-in, picnic table, bear box. Clearly you would put your tent straight ahead there. It's like they clearly have a spot. Some of them actually have a tent pad, some don't, but obviously you put your tent right there. So again, up there is 73. So 73 and 72 have decent separation. 72 is right on the shoreline, we'll look at that. But do be aware that that's the back of 70. And also straight ahead, you see that's the fishing dock. That will be very popular. That'll be kind of the main hangout for site 64 through 73, 10 campsites. So that will probably have people hanging out there just to be aware of for privacy. So let's go check out over here, 72. So again, there's a picnic table, fire pit, put your tent there. And then here's our shoreline access. 70 and 72 are probably the two highest quality out of 64 to 73, just because of their proximity to Diablo Lake shoreline. And look at this, my friend. It's walk right into the water type access, which is pretty darn epic. Could be a kayaker's dream. And look at the glisten, and let me pan back. Look at the sun trying to break through this ethereal, mystical, magical fog. And then you got the glisten on Diablo Lake. This is pretty gorgeous. You can see why this is destination worthy. Got the ethereal fog and the mountains over there. And there's your fishing dock. So be aware people will be hanging out there because it's a very premium access area to overlook the lake. So that will negatively impact your privacy lines here at 72. But that said, it's still such a high value proposition that wouldn't deter me. And we will walk up this way, back by 73 again. The numerology of this 10-pack park walk-in only tent campsite zone is a little confusing, so it's not self-evident. Okay, so we've left that initial walk-in tent-only zone of 64 through 73. Again, that's the only section that's actually open year-round. Come down this road, you got 74, 75 kind of sharing this parking. I call these wishbone campsites, and not necessarily a good thing. Typically leads to poor privacy lines. Down there is 75, over here 74. We'll do 74 first. So on the positive side, these are right up against Diablo Lake. So I think this is a sacrifice privacy to get access to the lake trade-off play. Very beautiful little swath of forest there, good shade. Your bear box on the left. There's your fire pit, picnic table, and your tent pad. Now, what I don't like is these privacy lines are absolutely atrocious. Like that is 75 right there. Like there's no breakage, not even an attempt at breakage. So right now I'm in my tent set up, and I got people like, whatever that is away, 20 feet away, sitting at their fire pit. There's the picnic table, there's their tent pad. And let me show you this. There's their bear box. So if they're coming to grab some food and I'm in my tent right now, they're literally like 10 feet away, if that. And I can hear somebody, sounds like somebody's rustling behind my tent, not a fan. Also, you do share access to Diablo Lake. So you got a shared access point, which is suboptimal. I'm gonna do 75 in a second, but first from 74's perspective, I'm gonna come down here. So here's your access point. So this is why you're making that trade-off. You're like, you know what? I'm willing to be basically create a new best friend at 75 in order to have this as part of my access point as it starts to rain. Fortunately, I've got the right clothes for that. So this, my friend, is gorgeous. Diablo Lake. Let me pan up and show you the sun trying to break through this mystical fog, rolling through this gorgeous North Cascades National Park. Oh, this is beautiful. You can see the rain coming down on Diablo Lake. Let me pan over here. Also like these stumps. I mean, that's very cool. See this stump right here? You can just walk over there and sit on that stump. And that is a very cool concept. So I am a fan. Oh, with the sun trying to break through this ethereal, mystical fog. Look at that. You pan down here, you can see some glisten on Diablo Lake. And I'm particularly loving these stumps. I mean, look at that. You can just sit on that stump and enjoy the lake. This is a pretty magical zone. So this is why you would take 74 or 75. Again, I call them wishbone campsites because they're essentially a wishbone with no privacy lines between them, but you're making that sacrifice in order to have premium access to Diablo Lake. So here's the 75, the other half of this wishbone set. Come down here, carry your gear. And if this is all it was, you'd be in Wonderland, but I'll show you the negative part as far as the privacy in a second. So you got what is presumably 76 right there. Here's your tent pad. Here's your picnic table. And yes, you're not seeing this incorrectly. You've got your fire pit and your bear box right there, centrally located right next to 74. That is the tent pad, picnic table, fire pit, and bear box for 74. Your bear box is literally 8 to 10 feet away from your neighbor. So to me, this is a deal breaker, atrocious privacy lines. Now, if you can get 74 and 75 together, like, group play situation, now you're in business. Get some friends, family, whatever it is. You grab 74, 75, now you've got a magical zone. But if you are strangers, that is awkward. Here is your access, again, from 75. This is a shared access point between 74 and 75. So it would be unreasonable for one site to think the other side isn't going to use this. This is the whole reason you're here. So come out here, beautiful little section. You can also hear the background noise. The highway's to our left, and that does carry across the lake. So that is a drawback to be aware of. I love these stumps. You can go out and sit on that stump and just kind of ponder the meaning of life. I'm digging it. We pan back here, look at that. You got the ethereal mystical fog of the sun trying to break through. It's gorgeous Wonderland zone, North Cascades National Park, Diablo Lake. So that's the positive side. That's why you want to stay here, is for the premium shoreline access. But if you are like a single family looking for a private, secluded experience, I would not take 74, 75. You are definitely taking the trade-off of giving away your privacy for the shoreline access. So something to be aware of. I think that will be a consistent theme here at Colonial Creek South Campground. 76, I believe, over there. That's our next campsite as we continue along. So I think a consistent theme here is you're going to see these have been packed in here. Maximize as many campsites are up against the shoreline. Consequently, the privacy lines are not that great. So this is 76. Come down here, see already got tent pads over here. So not great privacy lines already. Presumably park up to this stump. I will point out that 74, 75 had paved parking. 76 does not appear to have paved parking. So choose your own adventure here at Colonial Creek South Campground, North Cascades National Park. Come down here, you got your picnic table, fire pit, bear box. I will point out you got a two-pack over there. Two-pack for sure. So come over here. Now this is not the best privacy lines. You got, again, fire pit, picnic table, bear box. But look, you are essentially right next to 74, 75, which is their own wishbone setup. No privacy lines between the two of those. So 74, 75 right there. You're staring at 74, 75. There's the tent pad for 75. I'm sitting at my picnic table. Clearly you put your tent right here for 76. 76 does have its own private shoreline access, something 74 and 75 cannot claim because they have a shared access. This is the domain of 76. Please be kind, spider webs. Yes, no spider webs. All right, and here is Diablo Lake. It's walk right in access, so that's gorgeous. It's legit. And I'm gonna pan back because this is legend. Got an interesting phenomenon. Look at that. Sun trying to break through the mystical ethereal fog, lighting up this gorgeous wonderland zone of North Cascades National Park, Diablo Lake. So this is why you're staying here, right here. You're like in love, gawking, enjoying, relaxing, appreciating Diablo Lake. So 76 does have its own access point. 74, 75 share an access point. So if it's all about the access point, that's probably feather in 76's cap. 76 did have better privacy lines than 74 and 75, which if you're not getting those together, I think that's just plain awkward, my humble opinion, keeping it real. I don't want to be too negative. I mean, it's a gorgeous national park, and I am a North Cascades National Park enthusiast. I think it's one of the best national parks in the country, and I'm surprised it's free because it is premium. But that said, I'm not going to pretend every campsite is legend. I'm going to keep it 100. So, okay, that was 76. Little water spigot here between 76 and presumably 77, 78. We'll see that in a second. And we will continue along. So kind of interesting, you have 78, 79 here on the left. I'll get to those in a second, but you have a little past at 77 on the right here. This is the worst of every world in my humble opinion. It's not on the lakeside. So let me show you. That's obviously Diablo Lake to my left. You want to be on the lake, right? That's why you're here. 77 is a landlubber site, I call them. You're here, base camp style, that's good, but it's not a destination site. There's your numerology. It's also kind of claustrophobic, tucked in here in the forest. And up there is not exactly pretty. Look at all that, like downfall. This is like dirty forest. So this is kind of like tucked in here, jammed in here. This is not a destination site. Very low square footage. You got your tent pad, picnic table, your bear box. And I don't know if I'd even really want to climb up there and hang out like that. What's the point? It's kind of dirty forest. So yeah, 77 is no bueno. I would not do 77. And then come across here, 78, 79, no bueno again. For some reason they were overly aggressive in the way they stacked this, maybe trying to maximize the sites. You can say it's a revenue play. You can say it's get as many people here to enjoy this play, depending on how you want to spin it. But either way, not a fan. You park 2 cars here, shared driveway. Look, 78 is a nightmare. I really don't like 78. You got your tent pad right up against the campground road. Again, remember the lake's over here, and you got a whole nother site between you. For some reason, 78 is like under the armpit of 79. I don't really get it. Tent pad, fire pit. There's your bear box. The really weird thing, I don't know if this picnic table, so this isn't a double. The picnic table on the left presumably is 78. So I don't know if it just got temporarily moved and they're going to slide it back. Why would you want your picnic table in the middle of somebody else's business? Because that right there is the tent pad for 79. There's a picnic table, fire pit for 79. Obviously, bareback 79. You can see the number. And then down there, you do have the shared access point for 78 and 79. That's the big positive, is you're on the shoreline. But you're absolutely sacrificing your privacy in order to do it. There's the spigot straight ahead on the other side of 78. So if you can get 78 and 79 as a group play, you know, a big family, group of friends, now you're in business. But as individual, private party, single families, absolute nightmare. Also, you got 80 right here. So look, there's 80, there's 79. So there's 0 attempt. You can also see tent pad on the other side. You see this premium beach access. This is 78 and 79 shared beach access. Again, that's suboptimal because now you're already sharing it with another party. So far, 74 through 79, 76 is the only one that has its own private access. So you come down here, this is pretty. I mean, look at this. This is gorgeous. You got the beautiful Diablo Lake. I'm gonna pan back. You can see the sun and this ethereal mystical fog trying to break through, creating a glisten on Diablo Lake. So this is magic. This is why you're here, keeping it real, to be up against Diablo Lake. So Shoreline is delivering. Again, also you got 80 right there. Atrocious privacy lines. I actually think it's a shame. I think it'd be so much better if they cut the number of sites and carved them into like magic sites. I might have a minority opinion here. I'd rather them charge a little bit more and make each site more like a private destination site, even if they had to, you know, raise the price significantly, still way cheaper than a hotel room, and it's a magical experience. So I don't think they're hitting the sweet spot. So again, for bearings, there's our campground road. We're ascending. Here's 80. You can see there's several parks. So this is a bay for several of them. Come down here, you got your fire pit and picnic table and your bear box straight ahead. There's 79 and 78. So horrible privacy lines. There's your tent pad. The only thing these have going for them is obviously they're up against Diablo Lake. That's the main reason you're here. And there's your fire pit. That's the big draw. So if you come to Colonial Creek South, you're basically saying, you know what, I don't care about privacy. I just want to be up against Diablo Lake. That's kind of the trade-off. If you are a single family trying to have like a private, secluded, magical experience, then I don't think this is the area for you, because there's no privacy at any of these sites really so far. And let's come around here. Now, after my negative diatribe, let me show you how awesome this is. This is why you're here. This is beautiful. This is Diablo Lake. Pan back and see this mystical, ethereal fog. The sun trying to break through. Pan back over here. So the lake is why you're here. It's very pretty. But you're sacrificing privacy clearly for your lake access. So I mean, this is cool. Look at this. This is pretty. Here's your tent pad. So your tent is like right here, and like you can position it so you open your tent door. You open your door. This is what you see when you wake up. So that was 80. Trying to give a balanced perspective. Like, I'm a huge super fan of North Cascades National Park. I think it's a premium park. I can't believe it's free. I think it's underrated. So I'm not like just here to like rip on, the campground, but I'm also trying to give an honest assessment, at least as far as I think. I value my privacy if I'm gonna bring my family somewhere. So for me, having 78, 79 right there, 80 there, and then that there, 2 sardines for me. I do want to show you, here's the restroom, centrally located up these steps. So that's behind 80 and 82. So here is 82, you see the sign. This one's got a driveway to a log, which is the end of your parking. See the big 82 on the bear box. That really helps understand the numerology, because a lot of it is not self-evident. You've got your tent pad straight ahead. Bad news is, you see that tent pad to the left, that's 80. So the privacy lines between 82 and 80 are not great. First I'll come over here, show you, here's your tent pad, and then right there, straight ahead, that's 80, 79, 78. So not good privacy lines with that. Now here's the positive, look at that. You got your fire pit, and you got your picnic table perfectly located. I will show you there's 83, which is also horrible because people have a tent like 30 feet that way. So I really like that they put the fire pit orienting towards the lake. So I'm sitting right here enjoying Diablo Lake. In fact, there's a little side trail right here. So this is kind of the core of the campground. So this is the shot maybe of the campground. You see they put the picnic table right up against Diablo Lake. I mean, this is a dream right here. So imagine you're sitting right here. I sit down, here's my picnic table. Well, hello there, lake. This is gorgeous. That's your private access for 82, so that's a feather in its cap. 82 does have its own private access right here. You can go down there, hang out, goes around the corner a little bit, so that's good. And then probably one of the views, I'm sure this is on the brochure, look at that, my friend. 82 has got its picnic table right up against Diablo Lake, overlooking the lake, pretty magical. So imagine you're going over here, you sit down, and then you just got this beautiful view of the lake. You can see the dock of the walk-in tent, only 64 to 73 over there. Got the beautiful overlook of the lake. Pan up and show you, got the sun peeking through the trees, the ethereal fog. So that is the picnic table. I'll come around from this side, because why not? You could also sit this way, and then you're just staring that way. So look this way. So this is probably the coolest part right here of 82, and I really think they did a bang-up job of locating the fire pit and particularly the picnic table right up against Diablo Lake. That is beautiful. I'm sure this is on the brochure, and that is smart of them, because when you see that, it's instant sell, instant sold. I'm there, I want it, because it's pretty beautiful. But I will not throw cold water on it. 83 is right there, 84 is there, and then you got a cluster over there. So this isn't great privacy lines. You zoom back from this one spot, you realize it's not the private oasis it may appear, it is pretty much fishbowled right in the middle of kind of a sardine cluster, keeping it real. Not gonna lie. So here's our campground road for bearings. There's our restroom. Here's our spigot between 82 and 83. Here's 83 and 85. 3 parking spots, 2 campsites. Another one of these wishbones. This is basically a shared access point for 83 and 85. I don't know where 84 is. I don't think it exists. I also don't think 81 exists. Don't know what happened to them, but they just aren't here. So go figure. So, okay, come down here, you got 83, it's almost kind of a joint one, not even gonna do them separately. 83 there, 85 there. You can see 85 on that bare box. There's your tent pad, here's your picnic table fire pit. Here's 83. Come over here, again, I'm showing you that's a different site. That's 85, that's 83. So 83 and 85 are basically joined at the hip. Again, I call them wishbone campsites. Horrible privacy lines. Good as a group play, horrible if you're 2 separate parties. There's your bare box, and the 83's on the other side, and then there's your fire pit, picnic table. Obviously, tree fell down. That's kind of cool. I'm sure they got to clear that out. It probably happened over the winter. Okay, so here's my thought process. Struggling a little bit, trying to maintain a sense of balance. My main issue with this place so far is the privacy lot lines between the sites is horrendous. Starting with the positive first, you have beautiful Diablo Lake right there, which is awesome. But candidly, there's a lot of lakes out there you can go camp at and have a very private, secluded experience right on the shoreline. So the part I'm struggling with is, why would you want to sacrifice all your privacy to be at Diablo? Yeah, Diablo's beautiful, it's magical, but there's a lot of lakes in Washington and Oregon, where I'm from, where you can just go there and be the only one there and have total seclusion. And I don't know if Diablo Lake is so beautiful that you just want to totally give up on the privacy part. So that's the value proposition issue I'm having, because here we're at 83 and 85 wishbone campsites basically on top of each other, like basically a joint group campsite masquerading as 2. And to make it worse, that picnic table straight ahead, even though it's awesome for 82, that's right behind you. So imagine if you had a family sitting right there, the other side of this little brush of trees, and then you're here at 83, and then you got another site here. Basically, you're hanging out with 2 groups of strangers so close to you that you can't even have that, illusion of privacy. Like, you're just kind of hanging out in a parking lot kind of mentality. And I don't know, although I love Diablo Lake and I think it's very beautiful, I'm not dissing Diablo Lake, I just don't see why that trade-off's worth it. There's a lot of other lakes in Washington and Oregon, a lot of states, where you don't have to totally give up your privacy in order to be at them. So that's the issue I'm personally having with this place. Here's 85. So here's 85. Again, it's part of this wishbone with 83. Picnic table fire pit. I will point out you also have endless road noise from the highway to our left going to Ross Dam. So put your tent right there on the tent pad. Here's your bear box, and you see the other side of the bear box, 10 feet, is 83's picnic table, and there's another picnic table for 82. So you got 2 parties like right to your left in your peripheral vision, and then you're sleeping over here. Now the positive, I know I'm Mr. Negative, the positive is you have this absolutely gorgeous shoreline access. So this is why you're here, right here, like world-class access to Diablo Lake. This is the payoff. This is why you sacrifice some privacy. Some people, that's absolutely worth it, to each his or her own. So look at that, that is gorgeous. We pan back and show you the sun. Looks like the sun's winning the battle with the mystical ethereal fog. Blue sky starting to come out. Beautiful, good day to be doing this. So look at that, that is gorgeous. The Diablo Lake is gorgeous. And pan back over here, still some ethereal mystical fog up there, high in the mountains. You can see the dock straight ahead. That is for the walk-in tent only 64 to 73 sites. So you will see people hanging out there, presumably. So, but this is beautiful. I mean, look at this. So again, there's 83 and 85 in one cluster. You get both tent pads, both picnic tables, both bear boxes in one shot. And you have a lot of road noise from the highway, people going to Ross Dam. As we continue along, here's 86 on the opposite side of the road. This is the non-lake side. So you park up here, beautiful little section of forest, but you're not up against the feature. Bear box there, definitely a little bit more private. come up here. It's pretty sloped. If you have members of your party that have trouble with inclines, that's probably a deal breaker. And you got your picnic table. Looks like the fire pit is in the middle of a repair process. And then you got your tent up here. I will say that you do have the restroom straight ahead. So if you're at your tent, you're gonna hear people going to the restroom in the middle of the night. So I was complimenting the privacy, I take it back. You do have your own little side trail to the restroom, but because people go to the restroom in the middle of the night, it's a deal breaker, and you're not on the lakeside. I have a bias against what I call inner loop versus the outer loop. Outer loop's normally against the feature, lake, river, creek, whatever it is. So generally I don't like inners in general. That's an inner, and it's right next to the bathroom. So I would not do 86. Now here's 87, 88. Side-by-side parking. Is this yet another Wishbone design where they share an area? These are basically group plays. Okay, 87 looks like that's the path, 88 that's the path, so I'll go 87 first. Maybe my takeaway is Colonial Creek South Campground is a great group campground. Over there is 83, 85. 84 and 81 did not exist that I was aware of. Coming down here, you got picnic table, fire pit, and tent pad. I will stop, not good privacy lines. You got your one friend right here, and you got a friend up there. Let me come back up here a little bit. So you got a picnic table, fire pit up there on the right. Then you got the picnic table here, your friend here. And now here we're at the one we're doing, which is 87. Picnic table, fire pit, and bear box. So not good privacy lines. We'll come up here and turn around. See, I mean, you got a trio right here, like all on top of each other. Good news is you do have your own access. Oh, before I get to the good news, look at that. I didn't even see that. You got our friends 83 and 85. Sadly, the picnic table for 87, I will walk up and simulate sitting at it. I'm sitting at the picnic table, and right between these trees, straight ahead, I got 85 and that family sitting there. So it's like, hey buddy, hey neighbor, want to throw a football? So there's that, there's their tent. So you got horrible lot lines between 85 and 87. I'm basically staring at 85 site from my picnic table. And then I look back and I got a picnic table up there and a fire pit up there and a tent up there. So now that I've been negative, here's the positive. Here's our shoreline access. You will note that there is what looks like a path from our neighbor. So I'm reading this to be a shared access point. This is not the exclusive domain of 87. So far, 76 is the only one that had its own private access point. My memory serves. Okay, so here's your access point. I mean, it's decent. It's kind of tight. Let me show you like the ground. It's muddy. I mean, it depends on the time of year if it's raining or not, but might not be muddy. But here's your lake. It's a very narrow lake access point. Not really anything like too epic. There's a lot of other lakes that have much bigger shoreline access points than that, and you don't have to give up your privacy in order to be there. So probably not a fan of 87. And there's our neighbor. Like, I'm kind of almost doing a joint one. There's 88 right there. So that was 87. Here's the path to 88. Park here. Little side trail to take your gear down. I would point out we got our neighbor right there. Horrible lot lines. Most of the campgrounds that would already be a deal breaker for me, but I will keep going. See the 88 on the bear box. There's your picnic table. There's your friend right there. No breakage whatsoever. Come down here, get a picnic table, bear box. Here's your tent pad. So I got my tent right here, and I'm looking down at 87 and their picnic table, and I have a clean line of sight to a lot of 85. So I don't really have managed shoreline access. I think right there might be like 8 or 10 feet up against the river, or I'm sorry, the lake that you can go to, but that's not anything special. Probably the main one is the shared one with 87 straight ahead. So not good. I wouldn't do 88. Whatever this one is right here, 89, I wouldn't do either. Because now you're away from the lake, but you have horrible privacy lines. So we'll go to the next one. So we're going down the Campground road. Here's 89. You can see 91 on the right there. So 89. Let's come around here. I'm off season, so I wouldn't hold it against them. It's actually a good thing they're gathering the wood to get rid of it. So that's not like an issue. That's not a ding against them. That's actually responsible forestry management. No problem with that. You can see they've already started collecting it at a lot of these sites, open in the next couple of weeks. So that's a good thing. Park here. There's a tent pad. There's your picnic table. As I mentioned the last couple sites, I mean, look at this. This is as bad as it gets as far as privacy lines. You're not up against the lake. Looks like you don't have your own access to the lake. Ooh, you actually literally have a straight line of sight to your neighbor over there. You have no access to what's called dirty forest, so you can't even see the lake. And then you have 88 and 87 in a row like this. Yeah, that's 89 is the worst one so far, in my humble opinion. Not a fan, wouldn't do it. Keeping it real. And across the way is 90. We'll go do 90. Walk around these logs. Again, these logs are a good thing. That means they're cleaning the forest. 90 is 91. There's our campground road. Walk over these logs. You park here, indent it up to this spot in front of these ferns. Got your picnic table, fire pit, and bear box. Kind of a low square footage area. See, you're up against the little wild area. You really can't go that way. It's what I call dirty forest. It's not so pretty. It's rustic. Come over here. Here's your tent pad. But I will say, lo and behold, look, you got a row of 2 picnic tables that way. And you come over here, you got your friends right there. So it's 91 over there. So not ideal. There's the parking for 91. You're not up against the feature. This is an inner. I don't like inners in general. And then you have poor privacy lines. I would not do 90. We're going on to 91 here on the right. So nice. It's got a little turnabout. That's always very nice. As I say, turnabout is fair play. So we'll come over here. It's got its own water spigot. That's cool. And maybe this is kind of RV-esque. I'm getting that vibe. You've got this big RV style turnabout. You've got your picnic table. You got your bear box in the middle. It looks like 2 tent pads, one on the left, one on the right. As far as negative privacy lines, remember you got 90 right there. And you got a straight line of sight straight ahead to that next one. They weren't even trying to hide how close those tent pads are. So it's an inner. It's not up against the lake. It does have its own water spigot. I think I read that as an RV inner play, not up against the lake. I would not do 91. But it's nice that they have RV ones with turnabouts. So we will continue along. Here is 92, 93, 94. You can see 3 brown poles, markers. So let's come down here. This is going to be a tri-wishbone, I'm guessing, triple wishbone. So I think that's 93, but we're doing 92 over here first. A lot of times the first one you see isn't really the first one numerically. So okay, so here is 92. You got your bear box, picnic table, you got your tent pad over here. So I'll say the good news is, because you have a little swath of dirty forest here, it gives you some blockage. Unfortunately, you have 89 straight ahead. You can see the picnic table for 89 right there. So this is 92. Now look how close your 2 friends are. You see a tent pad there, a tent pad there. So this is basically a triple zone. 92, 93, 94. It's like if you get a big group together and you grab all 3 of these, now you're in a good situation. But if you're 3 separate single families trying to take 92, 93, 94, that's a nightmare in my humble opinion if you at all value your privacy. I will also say you can see 2 more sites straight ahead, presumably like 95, 96 or whatever the numbers are. So you literally have a cluster, in more ways than one, of 5 sites. See straight ahead through this light brushage, 2 there, and then this trio, 1, 2, 3. This isn't my kind of camping. I know this is other people's kind of camping, trying to find the balance between giving useful information and not just sounding like totally negative. But so that's 92. Okay, so that was 92. And I'll pan back. Remember, that's 94. This is 93. Kind of doing all these together. This is the general parking, and you come down. And then here's 93. You got your tent, pad, picnic table, bear box. You can see the 93. And then there's 94. Kind of do them at once. Picnic table, fire pit, bear box. Remember, we do have 2 more right there, just on the other side of a couple trees. So you got a cluster of 5 here. So let's check out the shoreline access from this triple wishbone, 92, 93, 94. See if it's joint or separate. Most of them here are joint so far. So there's a couple access points. I'm seeing one on the right, one on the left. You come down here, you can access Diablo Lake. And there you go. Please be kind, spiderwebs. I will walk all the way to the edge to give this trio its just dessert. And okay, so this is pretty high quality. Oh, there was one spiderweb. This is pretty high quality. Look at that. This is nice. I'm digging this. This is beautiful. Bring some chairs out here. And look at that. That is gorgeous, my friend. So this would be your draw. This is why you're here. You can't hear the road noise. People going to Ross Dam, I can hear it on my left. But that aside, you are sitting here on a classic shoreline up against Diablo Lake, North Cascades National Park. Not too shabby, my friend. Pretty darn gorgeous. So that was one of the access points. Kind of hard to delineate in this triple wishbone of 92, 93, 94. Like, I would argue this is probably the domain of all three, because it's not designed in a way that makes it very obvious that, like, this one goes to this site, this one goes to that site. So I don't really think you would have a claim that one belongs more. This one's a little bit more towards the 92, 93, or 92, 94, I should say. But I gotta say, I'm not even gonna say that. It's too much of a communal situation to try to create boundary property lines. It just doesn't exist. And let's come over here. This is the other half, the other side of our access. Spiderwebs on the first side. I probably have spiderwebs on this side, but that's just how brave I am. All right, come over here and actually no spiderwebs. Guess I'm not that brave. So here's our access to Diablo Lake, just so you get the actual ground. I mean, it's interesting. It's not great. It's a little muddy. Maybe that's not fair because it's like April 30th. Maybe that'd be dry, but it's not great. I think the other access point is better because it's a little peninsula. At least you get to look down the lake. But, you know, it's here. So you get two access points from the triple wishbone of 92, 93, 94. Again, if you're a group and you can grab them as a cluster, a home run, like awesome. But my viewpoint is if you're a single family trying to come and, you know, have a private wilderness experience, so far, I don't think Colonial Creek South Campground is the campground for you. I'm keeping it real. And I'm really not trying to be negative. I'm an enthusiast of North Cascades National Park. I think it's actually a top tier park. I can't believe it's free. So I am a fan, a super fan. And I'm also an enthusiast of Diablo Lake. I think it's beautiful. But that said, not so much of a fan of how they carved Colonial Creek South Campground so far. I do a lot of campground reviews. So I do feel like I have a good frame of reference on what's out there. So I do a lot of campground reviews. So I'm trying to give it a fair shake. I'm not trying to give it a national park bias in favor of it. I'm trying to assess it like I would any other campground. And so far, I am not blown away. If you don't normally watch my campground reviews, you might be like, oh, this guy's negative. I'm honest. You know, people spend their hard-earned money, come out here and camp. I'm not going to pretend like every campsite is amazing. 95. The whole reason you do a campground review is to find delineation and, you know, the creme de la creme, the wheat from the chaff. So I'm going to keep it 100 and be honest. If you park here, there's your tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. You've got the triple wishbone, 92, 93, 94 over there. Doesn't look like, I guess if you walk over 3 or 4 logs, you can access a little shoreline section, but not too blown away by 95, keeping it real. And then across the other side, an inner land lubber site, 96. Inner loop is always against the opposite side of the feature, in this case, Diablo Lake. So 96, park here, nice long driveway, picnic table, fire pit. Straight ahead is your tent pad. Surprisingly large amount of rocks around here, inexplicably. Doesn't look naturally occurring. Looks like they were trying to build the tent pad and brought too much rock, is my honest opinion. So here you got 91, I think it was. No line of sight breakage. Big party, probably RV. It's got its own spigot, 2 tent pads. Deal breaker for me. Oh, and you got somebody up there. Yeah. 96. There's your picnic table, by the way. 96 is no bueno in my humble opinion. the inner loop bias strikes again. I just don't understand the point of coming all the way to North Cascade National Park and then coming all the way to Diablo Lake, coming all the way to Colonial Creek South Campground, and then picking 96 and like, hey, I heard there's a lake around here, but I was just sitting in generic forest. So not a fan, keeping it real as we continue along. So here's 97. Again, they're gathering the debris, so that's a good thing. There's our campground road. So let's go look at 97. So you park here, nice big wide parking up against these rocks as your edge. Picnic table, fire pit, bare box on the left here, the 97 on it. Tent pad. For some reason, 97 and 95 are like set up to be your new bestie. So you're hanging out here. This is your picnic table. That's their picnic table. Here's your tent pad. That's their tent pad. You are on the edge of your tent. You are approximately 12 feet away from their picnic table. That's a deal breaker for me. Hey, if they're hungry in the middle of the night and they go to their bear box, then you get to hear every rip of every bag, which is exciting for you. So let's keep walking this way. Okay. So this is another one of those where you wouldn't know unless you came and looked at it. It's not intuitively designed. 100, 101, 102 are that way in that path. 99 with 2 parking spots here, left and right, is a double, and it's the only one to the left here. So 99 goes this way, 100, 101, 102 go that way. So we're going to 99 this way. And it's got double capacity, which is very exciting. So there's 99 on the left. It's a bear box. You got your tent pad and picnic table. And then look over here, lo and behold, you've got a second bear box, a second picnic table, and a second tent pad. So you do have 100 and 101, 102 over there. You can see one of the tent pads right there from their bear box over there. So it's not great privacy with that trio. But I will say, as far as doublers go, I think this is the best doubler so far, 99. Because at least you come down here and it's like you've got your own private access to Diablo Lake. I check out the lot lines over here. Oh, you got a couple access points. So let's say you're staying right here at 99. Oh, I got excited too soon. You do have your friend right there. So you have 97 right on top of you. I did 97, 95 cluster right there. So 97, 95 are right in your business on the left side of your 99. That's not good. But you do have 1-2 points of access for Diablo Lake. Again, you got 2 tent pads, 2 picnic tables, 2 of everything. That's why they call it a double. So let's come down here. You're staying at 99. And this presumably is your private access from 99. This is only the second one. 76 and 99 are the only 2 from my read that actually have a private access point. Everything else is communal. So you come over here and this is your domain. Your domain, you bring some chairs down here, read on your Kindle, your iPad, whatever it is you do. Come over here and I'll turn back so we get a little shot of Diablo Lake. So this is Diablo Lake in all its magical splendor. So that's exciting. 99's a pretty high quality doubler. It's not great, it's not optimal privacy lines, but it has better privacy lines than most of the ones here. So 99 is definitely the best double so far. I think you could be happy at 99. Again, you got 100, 101, 102 over there, but it's actually not as bad as the privacy lines. Granted, the standard's coming down because there's nothing here that's great privacy lines. You do have a bunch over there. So that's your bigger privacy vulnerability is on the left side, not on the right side. But 99 is not terrible. As far as doublers go, at least you're up on the shoreline, carry your stuff down this path and walk back up, and you got your own private shoreline. So 99 is serviceable. But I say, 99 is one of the better ones I've reviewed thus far. At least it's not a wishbone. Like it's designed to be a doubler, which is why it's better. Whereas over here, 100, 101, 102 are a triple wishbone, I'm calling them. And they are kind of on top of each other. So if you're a single family private party looking for privacy, you're already kind of up a creek because you got a triple situation here. You can see 101 there in the center. It's helpful to look at the numbers on the brown boxes. 102 over there on the left, or I guess on the right. 50% chance of guessing, I was wrong. Come on down here and here's 100. So this is the first one, 100. Now look at this, you got 101 and 102 right there. So no attempt to even break up the privacy. That's why I call these triple wishbone. Great as a group play if you can get 3 groups together to come and grab all 3 of these. A little difficult with the booking at recreation.gov, but if you can somehow manage that feat, then you're in business. I will say 99 right there, that's a doubler, so they get 2 tent pads. Come over here, and you do have what looks like your own private access. You can see that's 99's access over there. So I'm reading that as 99's domain shoreline, and this is 100, 101, 102's domain. Maybe just 100. I'll see if there's 100, 102 up separate. But come over here, kind of cool. You got this little sandbank straight ahead. That could be fun for the kiddos. Go run on the edge of that and brag that they went right up to the edge of the lake. That could be fun. Here's our lake. Very beautiful, beautiful Diablo Lake. Kind of a, frankly, dirty section of forest. I call this dirty forest. Like this particular section of shoreline is kind of just underbrush and overgrowth. And I mean, look at this. This isn't particularly beautiful. That's not a spring thing. That's a general forest thing. So today's April 30th, 2025. So that's 100. And then continuing along, we got, I'm just gonna do this as a group. We have in the center, I'm not gonna walk back up and walk back down, and it's kind of asinine. We have 101 with the tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. So now I'm in the center of this triple wishbone. I got 102 right there. I got my friend 100 over there. I think 101's the worst just because it is the center of the 3. And then lo and behold, you have to walk through 101 to get a 102. Sorry, 101, I hope you didn't like privacy. Here's the bear box. There's the tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. So the edge of the trio. Oh, and of course you've got your next one over there, whatever that happens to be. Can't read it from here, but so you even lose your privacy on the right. And then the good news is you do have this pretty high quality access. I think this is probably that sandbar area, I'm guessing. So we'll come down here. So really this is probably the piece de resistance. Though it's muddy, I'm not gonna do it. But there is a sandbar over there that in the summer would not be muddy, presumably, and you can go to the edge of the lake. That could be fun maybe for the kiddos, but I probably, if I was a family looking for privacy, I probably wouldn't be in the wishbone anyway, triple wishbone. So coming back down here, you can see that this is 101. Again, that's 100. See, there's this side track right here to get to 102, but the side track is right next to 101. So this side path from the parking goes right by 101 to get to 102. So 102, 101, 100, triple wishbone, no privacy amongst them. Great group play. Would steer clear if I was a single family looking for privacy. My humble opinion. Let's continue along. 103 to 110 is up there. So we'll do that, my friend. Nice little circle. Now I'll already say, declaring my bias up front, this is an inner loop. This is the opposite side of Diablo Lake. So I'm probably already gonna be pretty hard on these because my viewpoint is if you're coming to North Cascades National Park, you're coming to Diablo Lake, you're coming to Colonial Creek South Campground, don't you wanna be up against the lake? So here's 103. Nice driveway, high quality. Oh, you got somebody right there. That's horrible. Horrible lot lines. So even if you're like, oh, well, at least you go up in the inner, then you get better privacy. No, because you got literally a tent right there, 10 feet from me, 15 feet from me. Here's our tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. You can see our bear box up there. So there's another, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So you got to pick. Okay. So I definitely wouldn't pick 103. This to me is the worst case scenario. You're in an inner, you're not up against a feature. You got your friend right there on the other side of that log. You got the bathroom right there, so you can hear people in the bathroom in the middle of the night. And then you got your tent pad right there. So it's kind of the worst of every world. You're triangulated literally, yet you're in the inner, so there's not even the payoff of being on the shoreline, which would at least maybe in some situations justify the privacy trade-off. So it's a triangulation situation with no upside. So 103 is where nightmares come from. And then here's 104. There's got to be better, right? Park up here. You got your 10 pad, a cool log. I like that nice long log. It's a neat feature. Picnic table, fire pit. Come up here. It's not a high square footage one, but oh no, see? You're looking down on a site right there, and you're looking across to the site right there. Oh, you're looking at a site right there. So you have 3 sites on the other side of this log. So don't mistakenly think the log is like a privacy marker. It is not. So it's really more of a duck and cover situation. So you got 3 people right on the other side of your site. You're in the inner, you're not against the lake. Hard pass. I will say, if you don't ever listen to my reviews, you're probably like, this guy hates everything. I really don't. I'm just maintaining a standard. I don't see any reason to bother to do campground reviews if you're not gonna try to look for premium sites. That's the whole reason I bother. I do have a template of what I'm looking for. Here's 106. Remember, this loop is supposed to be 103 to 110. So 106 I'm reading is up here. Picnic table, fire pit, bear box. Careful, depending on where you orientate with these rocks on the other side. That's a trip hazard, in my humble opinion. I like this grove of trees. This is cool. Good shade. This one does not have high square footage. Oh, you do actually have your friend right across there. You can see another fire pit. I was about to start saying this one actually has decent privacy, but still got somebody on the other side. It's an inner, you're not up against the lake. I still wouldn't do it. So none of these inners in the 103 to 110 are tickling my fancy so far, but we'll keep going. I don't really understand what this cluster in the middle is, but it looks like there's something over there that might elucidate it for me. Here's 108. 108 was up against 91 and 96. I think that's 96 on the other side of that. It's already poor lot line. 91, it's a doubler. RV one straight ahead. So this is not great. You park here. You got 2 sites right there. Already a deal breaker. I already wouldn't stay here, but I'll still give it its fair shake. Picnic table, fire pit. Here's your 10 pad. 10 pad is more located even closer to the doubler right there. That's a doubler right there. That's 91. They got 2 10 pads. Then you can see 96 over there. So would not do 108. Keeping it real. Okay, so this is 110. I'm actually standing in the roundabout. Let me show you. See, it goes all the way over here. So this is great for an RV, a super group. You have 3 picnic tables, 3 10 pads, a massive fire pit. So this is like a mosh pit group central RV, party base camp zone is how I would define this. For certain parties, this is a dream right here, but this is 110. Even has its own spigot centrally located. Again, 3 10 pads, 3 picnic tables, bear box, a roundabout. So that's 110. I did not see a couple like 107, 109. I guess they don't exist. We will continue along, and we're coming up to 111 here on the left, and then 112 on the right. Spigot right there in front of 112 across from 111. Take mental note. So you park over here right up against these 2 boulders, picnic table, fire pit, and bear box here at 111. So this one actually has pretty good privacy so far. Well, that one's on me. I cursed it by saying that. So over here on the left, that right there is the edge of, that's 102. 100, 101, 102, the triple wishbone, that's 102. So not great privacy with 102, but beyond that, decent privacy. Big swath of forest, bigger square footage than average. That's in the plus column. Put your tent over here. This is better privacy. This is shaded more away from the 102 triple cluster. See, I mean, the picnic table's right there, keeping it real, and the triple's right there, but 111 is one of the better ones so far. I will absolutely say that with confidence. And then you come over here. This is presumably your private access. Yeah, it's a little muddy and boggy. Granted, it's April 30th, so part of that, it just rained, so I don't want to be unfair. It's not always boggy. I bet in the hardest summer, that's probably dirt, but not mud. You probably can go through that brush, but that's not like a high quality shoreline access. That's kind of a dirty shoreline, I call those. It's not a pristine shoreline. A great shade for your actual tent. I mean, if it was raining, you could probably be in your tent and not even get wet because there's such great foliage. Let me look up, in fact. High quality foliage. You could literally be in your tent right there in 111. If it rained, barely any of it would get to you just because of the canopy. So let's come across here. That was 111. The only privacy ding is 102 right there, and the shoreline access exists. It appears to be private, but it's kind of dirty shoreline. But all said, 111 is one of the stronger ones here, comparatively. It's not a wishbone. There's so many wishbones here. I'm not a fan of the privacy lost wishbone play. Here's 112. You can already just tell it's not going to be great. It's an inner, it's not against the lake. No shoreline access, low square footage, nowhere near like 111. 111's far and above Pier to 112. You park here, picnic table, fire pit, tent pad. Horrible square footage, not good privacy. You got your friends straight ahead on the other side of that log. There's your bear box. 112 is a hard no thank you. So here's our Thunder Creek Trailhead. You can see an amphitheater, day use only parking. You got a restroom right here. Also, pan over here, looks like you got a little bit of parking there. So 111 is actually one of the best ones here. 102 is right next to a privacy ding, and it doesn't have the best shoreline, but 111's top tier as far as Colonial Creek South Campground. I'm gonna come over here, just really mainly to check out the amphitheater. I'm not doing the hike. Thunder Creek Trailhead. From my understanding, there are several campsites down here a little bit, like backcountry camping style, which I am a fan of. So here's our Thunder Creek Trail wilderness safety tips, which I think are good. And there's our overall map. As you can see, you are here, nature trail, very cool. I'm gonna come over and check out the amphitheater because you gotta do that, right? So this is a very nice amphitheater. Well done, Colonial Creek South Campground. Very beautiful, very rustic feeling. Obviously, chairs, the benches are very old wood, but obviously need to be cleaned off, but that's not their fault. This is off season, so I'm sure they will be spick and span by the beginning. Okay, so they got National Park Service Center right there. I'm sure they have forest rangers come here and give cool talks, informative talks. I would highly recommend taking one of those in if you're here. They have a lot of colorful insight into the area that you might not actually be able to get just doing a Google search. So it's always worth doing that. So I am a fan of this concept. I like the amphitheater. I appreciate that the Forestry Service, National Park Service provides the more valuable experience of their insights. I definitely appreciate that they do that. So if you can align it with your schedule while you're here, I would definitely do one of those. Continue along. So that's the Thunder Creek Trail heading south. There are several backcountry campsites in that direction. I do plan on going to do that at some point, not today, but that's on my bucket list. Again, that's the amphitheater. And let's continue along. Okay, so 113 is clearly an ADA site, which I think is great. You've got parking right here. You've got the ADA sign. It says accessible camp. It's very clear. 113. Ooh, that's actually a good site, I'd say. This is one of the better sites. You can park straight ahead, depending on how many cars you have, how many people in your party. And you got your picnic table, fire pit. You can obviously are supposed to put your tent right here. It's self-evident. Picnic table. You got your bear box. And you even have a little grill. Very nice. This is nice. I would say you do have the amphitheater right there. Cool thing is you get to kind of take in the Forestry Service speech directly from here without having to leave your site. So kind of a W, a win. So I'm digging 113. I thought that was a pretty high quality site right next to Thunder Creek Trailhead. It's a little side trail to your neighbor. We'll go check that one out. Go right across from the restroom as well, which is convenient. I will say this is the day use parking, so you'll have a lot of traffic right here. That could be slightly annoying, but I'd say 113 is pretty good. I liked 113. Here's 114. Park here, and there's our picnic table, fire pit, bear box. Low square footage, kind of a claustrophobic site. Put your tent right here. Yeah, really claustrophobic site. Good news is you don't really have a lot of line of sight privacy issues, except you do have 113 right there. Very low square footage. Not a fan of 114. A little too cramped in there. There's no forest escape. You're not up against Diablo Lake, and you still have the negative aspect of all the, traffic of the day use from people going to Thunder Creek Trailhead. So probably wouldn't do that. The restroom again is right there. 115, 116. There's a spigot right there. We'll do 115 first. Surprisingly grassy driveway, but is what it is. Come up this way. There's your bear box. Put your food in there so the bears don't get you. And then you've got your picnic table, your picnic table, your tent pad, and your fire pit over there. I will say you're looking down on your friend over there, so it's not the best privacy lines. You're kind of up against a friend over there. So nice little section of forest. Ooh, I love this little cool trunk. Here's 116. Again, there's the spigot. Here's our intersection for the campsites, but we're gonna go this way. 116. This one's paved. See, 115 was like grass. It's weird. 116 is like paved. I don't really get that, but oh well. Here's our picnic table. Here's our bear box, our fire pit, and then here's clearly where we put our tent. Now look, you got somebody right there. That's horrible privacy lines. If that's a separate site, that's not good. So 116 is great as far as the ADA aspect. Like I like the paving, particularly important. So 116 is great. I liked 113 the best out of that cluster. I'd rank it 113, 116, my humble opinion. Again, there's the spigot. So here we got an intersection. Campsites 117 and 143 that way, 144 to 146 this way. We're gonna do 117 and 143 first. These ones I can do faster because they're not up against the shoreline. Not to mean that they're all gonna be horrible, but I'm gonna go rapid mode because a lot of campsites. 117, it says area closed due to hazards. In case they open it, I'm gonna walk it, but I will be extra mindful of hazards. Come over here, park, and I'll just give you a shot of it. I won't walk into it because of these set hazards. You got your picnic table, fire pit. You got your tent pad. See the fire pit's on the right there. Bear box straight ahead. Looks like you do have some running water. Running water probably created erosion, which is probably why there's hazards. That's 117. Looks like it's closed. I don't know how long that is. Sometimes it's budget stuff. Could be closed for years. Could just be a one-time fix. So I think I'm seeing this area closed thing on a lot of them. I don't know what the deal is with that. Guess you reach out to the National Park Service and find out, is this like a one-time, one-year fix, or have they been closed for years? I have no idea. Don't know anything about the history on that. Here's 118, area closed due to hazards. So make it easier for me. I'm not gonna walk into them. I'm just gonna stop a safe distance away. So here's our everything, our fire pit, our tent pad, our picnic table, our bear box. You get it? It's 118. Well, if these are all closed, I can really rapid fire these. Here's 119. These are all inners anyway, so not up against the lake, so that's already kind of a strike against them. There's your bear box, there's your tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. Give you a little taste of it. 119. There's a bird living there that makes beautiful sounds, but can't promise the bird will still be there if you ever book that one if they open it. All right, 120. Yeah, these all have the closed thing. I don't know what's going on there. That's a Forestry Service thing. 120, I've never seen that before. 120, and you park here. I won't walk into the sites and stay away. Respect that they don't want people walking deep into the sites. There's the tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. Got a nice little secondary flat one straight ahead. You can almost get 2 tents in there. I don't know what the rules are. Check with National Forestry Service, National Park Service. So that's actually kind of pretty. I kind of like that one as far as the feel of it, the feng shui. But I will say it does have your friend here, so it doesn't have the best privacy lines. Do these in numerical order. 121, also closed. Obviously park up against this log on the right. And you got your tent pad, picnic table, bear box. What I don't like about this is I hate these inners. This is one of the things I don't like about inners. You see a tent pad over there and a tent pad down there. So you got 2 people right across the way. To really just cram them in and get as many in as they can, the inners typically have that landlocked feel, and they often almost always have one right on the other side of them. And that to me is a deal breaker as far as privacy lines. That's why I generally don't like inners. So I don't think I'm gonna like any of these, but I still wanna do them just to be thorough. 122, park here. Again, it's closed. Yeah, I saw the close sign. And you got your fire pit, you got your bear box. Actually looks like they moved I'm assuming the picnic table would normally be right there. And then that's the tent pad. I will say, look at that beautiful section of forest. See, this is a gorgeous section of forest. Now, if they open it back up and you can get 120 and 122, it's actually a pretty high quality back of forest play. If you're just like, okay, you know what, I don't need to be on the lake at the site because I'm gonna go to the lake later. You grabbed 120, 122 and they reopened them, which again, ask them when that's gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, that could be a nice play. So I like 120 plus 122. Here's a spigot next to 123, park here, picnic table, fire pit, bear box. It's actually kind of pretty. Let me pan back and show you the monstrosity of these trees. So I would say that this one's actually not horrible as far as an inner. Ooh, see, I'm just starting to be nice, and then I see one right there. So deal breaker for this one because it's an inner, and then you got your friends right there, no privacy lines. Not the best. Now here's 124, again closed, at least temporarily, but we're just gonna assume that at some point these are gonna open back up, and then it will have been worthwhile to walk through these. So here you park. Ooh, I gotta pull back and just show you these trees. Leaning tower of epicness, beautiful. So that's grandiosity is the best part of this one. It's a forest play, picnic table, fire pit, you got your tent pad, you got your bear box, beautiful section of forest. I actually kind of like this section of forest, like 120, 122, 124. I don't like the inners on the other side, 121, 123, but I kind of like that one. That wasn't bad. Again, if you're just accepting that I'm not going to be up against Diablo Lake, I don't want to be in a double or triple wishbone with other people's picnic tables or tents 8 or 10 feet from my head. If you accept that, then those zones aren't bad. 125, also closed. I think this whole bay is gonna be closed. I'll stop being shocked by every one of them. Here is where you park. You got the restroom on the other side, straight ahead. Here's your tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. I don't like the poor privacy line with your friend over there, so that's suboptimal. That was 125. Here's 126. You can drive, park here. You got your tent pad, picnic table, fire pit. Beautiful section of forest. It's a shame these are all closed because these are actually starting to get a little less claustrophobic, a little less wishbony. There's your bear box. Beautiful swath of forest. I do actually think this 120, 122, 124, 126 zone, if you just forget about the lake and you want high quality forest play, they're actually not that bad, all things considered. Here is 127, 128. Ignore all the dumpsters, obviously a central spot. Park here for 127. Up here in the forest, this one's also closed. They're all closed. Go up here, you got your bear box. You got your tent pad. You got your picnic table and fire pit. Beautiful section of forest. Okay. Not horrible. 127 is legit. This back zone is actually kind of a hidden gem of this area. Walk-in sites parking. Here's 128. Oh, geez. This is a little bit of a trek. Walk-in sites. So I've parked. I'm carrying my igloo and my tent, one in each hand, because that's how strong I am. Up this, actually, deceptively steep walk-in campsite path. And at this, right about right now, I'm like, how much farther? This igloo's heavy. You brought too many drinks. And you come up here and you're like, I think I can. So close yet so far, it's still so steep. So you finally get up to this junction. You're like, I got 133 over there, 132 over there, 128 over here. I'm not even gonna pretend to understand the numerology because it doesn't make sense, but that's okay. And then I come over here and I'm like, 128, I did it. Only 12 more loads to go. So you come up here and picnic table, fire pit. This is actually not bad. Once you're up here, this would be a heck of a trek to carry a bunch of gear up here. If you pack light, 128's good. If you've got like all the accoutrement, if you've got like an igloo or this, I don't know if I'd want to do 128 because that'll be a project. It's kind of steep. Picnic table, bear box, beautiful section of forest. So, and there's your fire pit. So actually, once you're up to this walk-in campground zone, it's not bad. I'll say, it's not bad. It's kind of weird, like you're the opposite side of Diablo Lake. Diablo Lake is in the exact opposite side. You got the central water spigot. So here's 130 on the main campground road. Also closed. You park here. You descend down, you can see a picnic table, fire pit, and your tent pad. Bear box as well. You're right up against the bathroom. I won't go down there because it is closed. Not the best privacy lines up against the restroom. Okay, so straight ahead on the right with those dumpsters, that's the walk-in for $27.28. Then you got 130 here, car camping style, spigot. We're coming up here. Now we got another section where we walk up to 131, 132, 133, 134, 135. So kind of confusing, but we're down with it. Let's go up. 131. So 131 is like right here. Okay. So 131 is this one. Actually, has a little table. It's kind of neat. A sawhorse table. Picnic table, fire pit, bear box. You come up here and we're walking up. 132 is up here on the right. So you see this path up here we're connecting to, that's the path from 128 to our left. You come up here and you're at 132. You got 132, do that. And picnic table, fire pit, bear box. So it's kind of a central play. Kind of a weird design here. There's the spigot in front of 132, there's 133. Here's 133. Come up here, fire pit, picnic table, bear box. 128 is to my left. Probably put your tent straight ahead. That's the only place it could go. So yeah, interesting. You do have one right there. You got one there. That's not great. Line of sight privacy with 132, 133 can kind of stare at each other, and you got one over there. So my viewpoint is, call me crazy, if they're going to go to the trouble of carving out this walk-in campsite area, why not make each one of them private? I don't understand why they would go to the trouble. See, that's the path we climbed up. It's pretty steep. Why would they go to the trouble of carving these out individually into the forest and then still make them fishbowled? Like, to me, that's just an L, a miss. I don't get it. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend I do get it. It doesn't make sense to me. There's the path. Here's 134. Like, there's no reason why they couldn't have each one of these be like around in a corner oasis and give them privacy lines. I'm just not a fan of how they decided to do it, my humble opinion. Picnic table, fire, oh, nice fire pit. I like the stumps, I like the logs. I like the feel of this one once you get up here. Look back. I mean, this is a beautiful area. Probably sound picky AF. They're like, look at that beautiful forest. This guy's just complaining. Maybe, but I'm looking for premium sites, which is my motivation to do this to begin with. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of campsites. And if you have no discernment or delineation, what's the point? So here's your kind of secondary fire pit and a little rock fire pit. So 134 is actually kind of cool. I'm digging the vibes. Some sites, like, once you walk into them, you just feel good. I don't know, some people call that like a feng shui. I'll go with that. 134's got nice feng shui. Something about it just felt good. As soon as I walked into it, I felt like I was somewhere. Some sites have that phenomenon going for them. Here's another little water spigot. Here's 135. And this is kind of weird. Like, it's just up here in the forest. Okay. Come up here. It's cool. I dig it. It's a beautiful section of forest. Let me pan back. Look at that. Beautiful, tall, towering, old-growth trees. Come up here. You got a bear box. This kind of feels like they just kind of threw this in here, but it's not a negative. I kind of like it. I'm digging it. Come up here. You can see, here's your fire pit straight ahead here. Beautiful. I don't hate it. I'm not mad at 135. I kind of like 135. So 135 is one of the better ones. I don't really understand why there's a bear box down here on the trail, because this one already has a bear box, see? So I don't know if that's like mid-transit. They haven't deployed it. Maybe they're in the middle of designing this area. Not really fair when I come here off season, because that could be in the middle of being carried somewhere, or it could be a extra. I actually really like 135. I think it's a hidden gem in this walk-in campsite zone. Got the spigot right next to it. Pretty good privacy lot lines, carved up to your own little section of forest. A little bit of effort to have to carry your gear up there, but once you make that 20-30 minute investment, whatever it is, you got a good setup. So 135 is my favorite in this zone up here so far. 134 was decent, a little less square footage than 135, and it's still kind of in this main bay. 132, 133, 134. They do have a central spigot. There's the trail up. Again, there's 132. There's 133. Here's 136. Also closed, but you park there. This is car camping style, not walk-in style. I'll just stop here. You can see everything. You got your bear box, you got your fire pit, picnic table, and your tent pad. So interesting. Very Swiss Family Robinson. Actually, that was one of the better lot lines. I didn't see any lines of sight from that particular site. So good on that one. Again, it's an inner. It's not up against Diablo Lake. I wouldn't stay there, but not bad. 136. And we're coming down here to 137 here on the right. Another car camping one. These are all closed. This whole bay is closed. I guess I should stop being in such disbelief. I've just never seen that before. 137 closed. Park here. I won't go too far, but there's your 4-pack. I won't list everything. You see it. There's all our accoutrement right there. So that's 137. It's high quality section of forest. 136 over there, but pretty good line of sight. So not bad as far as an inner, not up against the lake, but pretty good. Here's 138, 139, 140, 141. So again, there's 138, 139, 140, 141. There's our road. So we'll walk up and take a look at these. This is really steep, just FYI. If you have members of your party that can't do incline, this is deal breaker. Because imagine if you're carrying all your gear up this, that right there is pretty steep. And if you got something heavy like a cooler, whatever, I will also point out that it intersects with the other one. So they're not two separate paths. The 138, 139, 148, 141 all intersect to the path I'm on right now. But if you got heavy stuff, that's pretty steep. So fair warning. Oh, so now we got another parting. That's 141 right there. Jesus is crazy. This is weird. Coming up here, got a spigot. So I'm gonna look back down here. There's an intersection. If you go there, it's 141. You come up this really steep thing. It's very difficult because you have to walk over several tree roots. And if you got like a heavy cooler, that's dangerous. You come up here and you got a centralized spigot, 138, 139, I guess up here. So this is just a weird network. It's got real Wizard of Oz junction feel, this place. Not intuitively designed. So if you're coming up here, again, this is very steep and a long ways to carry your gear. I think that's 139, 138. Come up here. Now it looks like it very well might be worth it because this looks pretty cool coming up here. But I'm just warning you, if you got people in your party that can't do inclines, or if you don't want to spend a half an hour carrying a bunch of heavy stuff up here, I don't even try it because this is a workout to get your stuff up here. There's your bear box. There's your fire pit. I will turn around here. Here's your picnic table. So things I like, it's got an epic towering old growth feel. Things I don't like, it's kind of dirty forest right here, like you can't really explore. And you're right above 139. So after all that work of lugging your gear up a pretty steep incline thing, which is slightly dangerous and taxing, you don't really get a dream money shot. You get a, let me turn back around. You get a reasonably high quality forest play campsite, but you're still overlooking 139. So you didn't reach the privacy promised land. You got a decent site, like a B minus B level, not an A plus site, not an A site. Here's 139. And this is at least flatter once you get to it. I like that. 2 picnic tables, digging that. I'm sure it's not a doubler, it's just an extra. You got your fire pit in the middle. This is pretty. This is less claustrophobic than 138 was. 138 felt a little steep. Here's your bear box. Big area to play. So, you know, probably the only ding against 139 is you have, lo and behold, 138 right there. So this is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. This is an interesting, eclectic campground. I mean, they put a lot of effort into it. I don't know if these are newer sites, if these have been built out and they're expanding Colonial Creek south, or if these have always been here. I don't really know the history of the campground. I won't claim to, but feels like an interesting effort has been put in. But I think the 138, 139, you got to go up pretty steep, hard to carry your gear. A couple places real steep incline. You got to walk up several tree roots. Like you're making a commitment. It's not for the casual, roll into my campsite and yawn and I'm done type camper. It's like you roll up your sleeves, good 20, 30 minutes of work. You'll be tired by the time you're done sitting up. So here's 140. And this one, they might have also done a good job of making it feel like its own separate oasis. What I was criticizing earlier, the 132, 133, 134 section, they might have nailed over here. Come up here, and lo and behold, you got your picnic table, your fire pit. You do have a 138, 139 bear box, so you're not in the private oasis you might think you are when you're walking up. Here's our bear box for 140. So interesting forest play. So after you first come from the walk-in parking, you come up this little trail. It's kind of weird because 141's right here, and you see those tree roots. You got to go up these tree roots to kind of eventually get up to 138, 139, which are quite a trek, I'll be honest. So only do those if you're in good conditioning and you're willing to put in 20 to 30 minutes of incline hiking in order to get your campsite set up. Here's 141. I don't know why that would be first than 138, 139 up there, but don't ask me. I didn't design the campground. Come down here, and lo and behold, here's our campsite. So nice and flat. I like that. You got your bear box. You got your fire pit. You got good shade. You got your picnic table. Probably put my tent right there. It's the obvious spot. So this isn't bad. Actually, 141's pretty good. 141 is pretty good, I gotta say, because you don't have any other campsites in your business, and you're high enough away from the campground road, which would be down there, that nobody's in your business. So I would say, if you want a privacy play walk-in, 141 is one of the best. So props to them for that. I gotta say, Diablo Lake, Colonial Creek South Campground is one of the more interestingly eclectically designed campgrounds I've been to in a while. All these kind of weird, non-intuitive side paths to different campsites. So you can say creatively designed with a lot of love. Again, not very intuitive. Hopefully a full review like this is helpful, because I'm here for the first time ever and I'm like getting confused. I'm having to backtrack multiple times to figure out where the heck I'm going half the time. So I just imagine how confusing it is if you're actually coming camping and you got gear. I might recommend when you come here, maybe grab a small load. Don't go grab your igloo and start carrying it, because you're gonna get frustrated when you can't find your campsite and you're lugging something heavy. So grab like just a couple small things, go check out your campsite. And then once you kind of have your bearings, go back and start the heavy loads. My humble opinion. Here is 142. You got your grass, and you park here. You got your picnic table, fire pit, tent pad, and bear box. You can see the road over there. So not great privacy lines. You're gonna have cars driving beneath you. Candidly, I would not do 142. I think there's a lot better sites here. So here's 143. Park here, this grassy driveway. Got your bear box, you got your picnic table, you got your fire pit on the left. So I gotta figure out if you have to put your tent right here or if you can put it up there. No, I think you gotta put it right here. This is horrible, actually. You put your tent right here, and that's like the center of your campsite, and you are in claustrophobic city because you're giving away. Let me look back. There's not much square footage here anyway. And then if you have to take up the heart of your site just to put up your tent, then oh bueno. So here is campsites 144 to 164. You got 144 right here. Again, ignore this debris. They're getting ready for the season. We're not in open season yet. You got your tent pad there, your picnic table, fire pit, bear box. You got your neighbor right there. Horrible lot lines. I would not do 144. 144 is no bueno. Remember, on the other side of that log right there is another site. So 144, not great. Keeping it real. Here's 146. Says it's closed. Park here. Picnic table, fire pit, tent pad, bear box. Look how close 146 and 147 are. Like, it looks like basically one campsite. This is horrible. For the lot line issue and the fact that it's an inner nondescript generic forest, nothing special about that campsite. You're not up against El Diablo Lake. 146 and 147 are hard nose. I'll do 147 separately though, just to be thorough. It's 149 next to us. So here's 147. This is crazy. This is crazy bad. Like, so here is our 10 pad for 147. You see you got a friend right there on the other side of the forest that's an inner. That's the problem with inners, is a lot of times they landlock with inners on the other side. So you got somebody right there. Here's our picnic table, fire pit, our bear box. Well, look, our bear box is like 5 feet away from somebody else's 10 pad. So 147 and 146 kind of suck, keeping it real. I can't even say they're a good group play because they're inners, nondescript generic forest, not up against Diablo Lake. If you're gonna do a group, at least be up against Shoreline of Diablo Lake. So just not good, to be honest. I'm not gonna say otherwise. 149, not open. Park here. Kind of have to stop your park right here because it gets steep. Bear box, picnic table, fire pit, tent pad. You do have your neighbor right there. Ooh, and you got your picnic table right there. So for some reason, oh, and then that same picnic table up there. They just didn't care when they were building these ones. I feel like at this campground, there's some that you feel like they like meticulously crafted with thought, love, and care. Others, they didn't. And that last bay I just did, the bay I'm doing now, I'm underwhelmed. This is the weakest part of the campground. 148 doesn't have the close sign, so I guess it's open. Park here, bear box, very pretty little grove of forest. Look at that with the mossy trees, that's gorgeous. Digging that. This one's kind of interesting. See, this one feels like it's got more love and care. You got your fire pit here, put your tent there, got your picnic table over there. You got this really pretty grove of trees. Unfortunately though, you do have one right there, the other side. So every time the campground giveth, the campground taketh away, I start getting excited, and then there's always like a wah, wah. So that one I was getting excited about. It's not up against the lake, so keeping it real, it wasn't gonna be one of the best sites either way. But I at least thought it was a good little privacy play, but it's not. There's one on the other side of it. There's 150, again, bearings. Here's our campground road. Picnic table's kind of exposed. If it's raining, you will feel it. You got your neighbor right there, already a deal breaker for me. You got your fire pit kind of oddly situated right there underneath some trees, and then got your tent pad and your bear box. Ooh, you got your neighbor right there. See the picnic table to the right of the bear box. So this is the lowest quality zone. Once you do this loop, like 144 to 164, so far every one of these is, in this section, very low quality. I'm just gonna be honest. This isn't one of those channels where I'm like, unaffiliated salesperson trying to hype every site. I call them like I see them, balls and strikes. And if a site's gorgeous, I'll say it. If a site is not gorgeous, I will say it. And this place has had a few okay ones, but I'm not incredibly in love with the way they crafted Colonial Creek South Campground. 151, park here. Doesn't say it's closed, so I guess it's open. Nice little swath of forest. It has that Swiss Family Robinson Trails vibe, which I dig. You got your tent pad there. You got your picnic table and fire pit down there. You see it. No reason to go down there. Bear box. I will say you have another one right there. You can see the bear box to the right of that big tree. So there is one down there. So it's not perfect privacy lines. Oh, and there's one over there too. Okay. So this one's not bad though. I'll say this one is not bad. Good shade. Pretty good in the rain. If it rains, it is national park and there's a lot of rain around here. 152. So far 151 is the best in this section. 152. I also thought the one to the left of that, I guess 149. Park here, and there's your fire pit, picnic table straight ahead, bear box under these trees, tent pad, good shade, good rain protection, but poor privacy lines. You see a bear box straight ahead, iceberg dead ahead, you got your friend right there. So no bueno, I wouldn't do that one, keep it real. So we shall continue along. There's your spigot to the right of 151. 151 was a better one of the better ones in this loop, but I would probably steer clear from this loop entirely. I was booking Colonial Creek South Campground. This is Constellation Camping. This is like I just needed a base camp. The site wasn't my play, but I just wanted to be in the area type camping. I called it Constellation Camping. 153, here's your driveway, picnic table, fire pit, and tent pad. There's your bear box. This one's actually not bad. Almost room for a second tent. Please follow all the rules as far as how many they allow you to have. But on the other side of that log, looks like there's another flat zone. So that was actually not bad. I will say you got your neighbor over there that I was liking, 151, but it's actually pretty good break up as far as the line of sight. So not bad. 153 is not bad. All right, 154. Again, these are forest plays. These are not on the lake. I still don't understand why, if you're coming all the way out here, you wouldn't want to be on the lake. So I think 111 might be my favorite so far. Coming up here, 154, you got bear box, you got picnic table, fire pit, got your tent pad. Turn left there, okay. Not good privacy lines. I would steer clear from that inner with poor privacy. Makes it a batter. Okay, continuing along. Should be 155 coming up here. Here's our little access to the restroom, to the blue building. It is not a chalet in the middle of the campground. That is the restroom. Here is 155. Park here, kind of weird parking. You'd probably want to stop before this lip because there's rocks on the other side of it, and this is the access to your campsite, I should say. Okay, straight ahead is obviously where you put your tent, bear box, picnic table, fire pit. I will say from a privacy line perspective, look, you got your friend right there. So not great. I didn't even notice that on the other side. So that is a ding against, I think that's 153. I was saying that was the best one. I was wrong. Okay, so, and you got your friend there. So again, 155, no bueno. 156. I don't like how close it is to the restroom. Anytime you go to the restroom, you're going to hear, especially at night. If they go to the restroom at night, it'll wake you up. Park up here. Most cars should be able to do it, but it's a little steep. Straight ahead, you got your picnic table, fire pit, everything, bear box. Looks like no tent pad. Oh no, there is a tent pad over here on the right. Put your tent over there on the right. And that's 156. I don't like that it's right next to this side trail, community side trail, campground side trail to the restroom. So you're gonna have people walking by, you'll hear them talking. So that's a little iffy. Don't like the proximity to the restroom. There's no feature, there's no benefit of being there. That's generic, dirty forest camping, not a fan. Okay, 157. Oh, before I get to that, here's a little spigot. Okay, 157, driveway. These ones appear to be open as far as those little signs that say not open. So low square footage. It's just about the tent pad, the picnic table, fire pit, and you are done. Like there's nothing else. If you wanted to like run around or hang out, that is not the campsite for you. You also have your neighbors right here. So no bueno. I'm not spending a lot of time on these because I want to show them to you as a resource, but I'm not recommending any of these in this section. 158, park here, bear box, picnic table, fire pit, tent pad, that's it. These are low square footage sites. I mean, that's it. There's nothing else to look at. That's the whole site. These are very claustrophobic. Like it's 3 squares in a cot mentality, like, 10 by 10 cell mentality, which I'm not a fan of. Here's 159. And kind of a rough parking. If you have like a little Mini Cooper, I probably wouldn't do 159 because you're going to bottom out, hurt your car. Oh, there's a deer hanging out here. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, don't mind me, my friend. You have your tent pad, picnic table, fire pit, bear box. Again, low square footage. I don't know. You have to check to see if the deer has this reserved or not. If the deer ever vacates this one, then I guess it's available. Sorry, buddy. I'll let you hang out. Hey, buddy. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, he was like, dude, this isn't one of the best sites. I agree, man. I agree. So the deer agrees, don't do 159. I think he's doing his own campground review. His is probably actually better than mine, but check out his YouTube channel. We will continue along to 160 right here on the left. And park right here. Park. There's your tent pad, bear box, picnic table, fire pit. This one, ooh, up there you see a bear box. So there's one overlooking ya. I remember that from the other side because I did that side first. This one's better than the last few because at least it's more square footage. Little beautiful section of forest, but again, inner, not away, not away from, not on the side of Diablo Lake. I probably wouldn't do 160. Keeping it real, that one's closed anyway currently, so we'll see. Don't really understand. Those don't look like they have issues to me, but I'm not an expert, so what do I know? All right, 161, there's your spigot. And you park here. Again, pardon the disheveledness. They're in the middle of prepping it for the year. It is not open. So that's not on them. That's good that they're doing that. Park here. And there's your tent pad, picnic table, fire pit, bear box. So this has got a pretty wide section of forest. This one's not bad, I'll say. That was actually one of the better ones, 161. Just because it happens to be at the end of the row of this. I'll stop there so you can see the fire pit better because I said it. You probably couldn't see it when I said it. Over here, 161, that's actually one of the better ones, ironically. There's none in the 144 to 164 loop that I would actually recommend. There was a couple of them that were okay, but they were consolation settle campgrounds, nothing destination worthy, nothing in that bay that I would seek out by any stretch of imagination, my friend. So there's a few left down here. So we are to the last three pack, 160, 163, 164, then we'll have done everything here at Colonial Creek South Campground. These are kind of throwaway campsites. These are right at the edge of the day use parking and the general campground, like hotspot, activity zone, a lot of cars, a lot of door slamming. 162, picnic table, fire pit, tent pad, bear box, not great. Horrible privacy lines, one next to it, which is 163. I wouldn't do 162. This is kind of the worst because you're kind of right at the edge of the campground. Essentially, as I said, the border of the day use area, so it's gonna have a lot of activity. 163, driveway. There's your tent pad, picnic table. Yeah, there's fire pit on the right. I wouldn't do that one personally either. Ooh, actually, before I leave that one, you see there's the one next to you. So that's 162, this is 163, right on top of each other. So not only are they not in a good spot, but they're actually right on top of each other. So 162, 163 absolutely suck, keeping it real. Not gonna lie. Here's 164, park here, this is the last one. There's your bear box, tent pad straight ahead, and then your picnic table, fire pit. Very claustrophobic. I guess you could put your tent above the bear box up there, but again, not good. A little side trail, but that's just taking you to the day use parking. I wouldn't do 164. Okay, so final review of Colonial Creek South Campground. I just walked all of the campsites from 64 to 164. Makes the numbers easy to remember. So here's my takeaway. I love North Cascades National Park. I love Diablo Lake. But I gotta say, I'm not blown away by the way they carved Colonial Creek South Campground. Keeping it real, you know, I have a bias in favor of it. I want to like it. I'm not here to like bash the campground by any stretch, quite the opposite. I've actually wanted to come stay here, bring my family for quite a while. I would have to give a warning disclaimer on this one that when you look at it online, they have pictures that don't really give you the lot line perspective. Just makes it look like everything's right up against the lake, but you don't really fully appreciate that they did such a poor job carving it to cram so many campsites in. When you actually get here, a little bit of a bait and switch feeling. You're like, you know, allured by the prospect of being on the lake, and you didn't realize that you were absolutely sacrificing all of your privacy in order to be on the lake. For some people, that's, you know, who cares? It's worth it to be on the lake. For other people, maybe looking for like a single party, private, you know, family experience, then they'll feel a little bamboozled. So that's kind of my more perspective. I appreciate privacy. I want to bring my family and have a very private experience. So for me, I'm a little disappointed, candidly. Not in the beauty of Diablo Lake, not in the beauty of North Cascades National Park, but just in the way they crafted this campground. I mean, here's a good example. If I stop here, I'm at 82. You got 80, 79, 78 right there. Here's 82's picnic table and fire pit, which I think are the view of the place. But then there's 83, there's 84, 85. Like, I guess there is no 84, 83, 85. So I mean, this is disappointing from the lot line perspective. But from the beauty perspective, if you're just looking at a picture and you see this, you're like, sign me up. My own little slice of heaven. But then when you get here, it might not be what you're expecting. So I want to give you that fair warning. You know, for some people, they're like, quit your complaining. This is beautiful, and I can understand that perspective, but I also don't want people to feel baited and switched. So I would say in conclusion, for all those reasons, love North Cascades National Park, love Diablo Lake. Don't love the way they carved Colonial Creek South Campground. The shoreline access is good, but the privacy lot lines are atrocious. I'm an avid camper, avid lake fan. There's so many other campgrounds and lakes you can go to where you get a private shoreline experience right up against the lake without having to sacrifice your privacy. So it's hard for me to fully recommend this campground. I think it's a beautiful zone. I think North Cascades National Park is absolutely worth coming to, and I can't believe it's free because I think it's one of the more premium national parks in the United States of America. But just understand that if you come to Colonial Creek South Campground, you are going to be giving up your privacy for this premium shoreline access. But I gotta say, Diablo Lake is beautiful. I'm loving this 3D topographical map. This is awesome. Look at that, perfectly depicts the area we are standing in.